Welcome to the Hawaii State Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, Queer Plus Commission meeting. It is Monday, August 11th, and we are starting a few minutes late at 2:35 p.m. First of all, we're going to start out with an introduction of our roll call. So everyone who is on Zoom will need to state your name. Not everyone, sorry, the commission and members need to state your name and whether or not someone is in the room with you. Oh, I do it. Okay. That's what I was asking. All right, so Kathleen's here. Joe Tolbe.
You actually have to name.
Joe Tolbe here. I'm alone here.
Okay, so we're gonna start over. So I'm Sandy Harjo Livingston, the chair. I'm here. Vice Chair, Michael.
Here.
Secretary Philip Steinbacher.
Present, I'm by myself.
Finance Director Shanda Brack. And our commissioners, Kathleen Odell. Here. Joe Tolbe.
Joe Tolbe here, alone.
Is there anyone in the room with you?
Hello.
Oh, all right. Joseph or Rocco.
Yes, I'm here. Nobody's in the room with me.
And Richard Velasquez.
Here.
Wonderful. All right, our ex-officios are Superintendent of Education, Beth Schimmelfennig. Did I say that correctly? President of the University of Hawaii System, designee Dr. Camaron Miyamoto. Director of Labor and Industrial Relations, designee David Rodriguez.
Present and here alone.
Director of Human Resources Development, designee Signe Nakamura Reza. Director of Human Services, designee Jonathan Kimura. Director of Health, designee Thaddeus Pham.
Aloha, I'm here and I'm alone in the room.
Yes.
Do you want me to run through the people online?
Yes.
Okay, so for everybody in the room, we have you sign in, so there's no reason to do that. This is just for attendance. I have Paul Tolson. Randy Soriano, CM. If you'd like to unmute and let us know your name, or you can just say a CM. Okay. Kristen Alex. Tafai. And we have a D. Tengarian. Carrie Jones. Tim Waikiki. Excuse me if I screw up your last names, I'm used to it too. Tristan Yasso, Adam Mulkey, Jeff, real last name, Kenny Chalk, Dakoyo, Rachel Hanohano, Izzy iPhone, Jamie Detweiler, Kent iPad 2, Celine, Joe Wilson. It's like one minute. I have more. I know. Hey, Kevin Spillman,
Present.
Kenny Chalk, Boyo, Kevin Spillman, Stephen Cohen, Rodney Powell, Peter Tui Silva from the Big Island, CJ Whedon, Matthew Folk, L. Young, Sean Ford, Marion Christensen, Rome, Allison Chazoy Kai, C. Francois Car, right? LA, Rachel R. Kuba, Devin, Tristan Yasso, and Dean Hammer.
Thank you, Michael. All right, so next we have comment on receipt of written testimony.
There was a message that the voice was going in and out. When you guys were talking, they said the voice is coming through. Just something to speak that by.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, I will speak louder. Okay. On to E, comment on receipt of written testimony, if there is any. You should have the written testimony that was received by August 8th, 2025 by 12 p.m. in the board packet.
It's been updated as of 2 o'clock today.
All right, are there any comments? All right. All right, we're moving on to section 2, member shares and concerns and reports. I don't have any, really anything to say today. I've pretty much said everything I need to say. All right, let's move on to Michael.
As you see in the board packet, just a reminder about the SAVE Act. If you haven't already reached out to your, most case, all of our congressional delegations on record, except for Ed Case, for voting against the SAVE Act. Our US senators are on record and saying no, they will vote against the SAVE Act. We encourage everybody else to do so. I do want to take this opportunity to apologize to the trans community for not standing up stronger last month when we were attacked, when you all were attacked by the people that chose to come to this meeting and spout some hateful, bigoted, and disgusting things. And I will try to do be a better ally as we move forward. So, and I think we can address that later on in the agenda.
Thank you. All right, next is Secretary Philip Steinbacher.
My only comment is kind of reiterating what I said last time, is there was a lot of hateful is one thing, but lies and misinformation is another thing. And so I'm hoping that however today's meeting goes, that we can all be civil, and that, our commentary and our contributions are fact-based and not fairy tales and made up mythology and science fiction about things that are happening. I hope we can only work if we are dealing with the truth and dealing with facts. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Finance Director Shanda Brack.
I agree with what has already been said, and I would also like to call out, I did not think to include this in the board packet, sorry, but Golojuch has released data on the Maui report, which is awesome. So if anybody is interested in finding out information about our Kakuna LGBT folks in the state, there's beautiful storytelling and data on Golojuch's website.
Thank you. All right, next we have Dr. Kathleen Odell.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to everyone serving on the commission, because this has been really, really challenging this year, but certainly this past month, even more so. And thank you to our community for being here. And I just want to put out there that I understand that even being here puts you in a very unsafe space and makes you subject to having to listen to all kinds of hate. So thank you for being here. Thank you for standing up and standing with us.
Next is Joe Tolbe.
Yeah, I just want to comment that I have a guest here who's joined us for today. He's going to be hopefully having a chance to talk with us, but he unfortunately has to leave at 3:30 for a court meeting, which is Mr. Paul Tonelson. So if we can try to move this along to try and get him in time before he can take off, I appreciate that. Thank you, Paul, for coming.
Next is Rocco Vick.
I don't have much to say that doesn't agree with what you all have already said. After reading through a lot of the testimony, it's apparent that misinformation is our biggest enemy right now. And I really am grateful for this commission for standing up for our trans family here in Hawaii, because I think that's just something that we're going to have to fight, is the misinformation fact. And I really appreciate the approach the commission's taking. So thank you, guys.
Rocco. Next, Richard Velasquez.
I'll go ahead and just say I support what other commissioners have said. I agree. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. All right, next we have our ex-officios. Let's see, Beth Schimmelfennig. Okay. Next we have Dr. Camaron Miyamoto.
Thank you, Michael, and Devin, for dealing with what you did in the group last time, and, you know, finding some leadership in a difficult situation, and making that, for chairing it, getting this through it together. I'm really glad that as a community, we stood together and got through that, with grace and pride and strength. That being said, I look forward to moving forward with truth and information that will bring our communities together. One request that I would like to make is I noticed in the minutes, there wasn't any mention of what happened. And I would like to request that the minutes be amended to include there was disruption and that the meeting had to stop and we'll escort it out by.
Thank you. All right, next we have David Rodriguez.
Yes, sir. David, do you have anything?
No, I have nothing to report. Thank you.
Thank you, David. All right, next we have. Okay, next we have Signe Nakamura Durezo. Is that the- All right, next we have Jonathan Kimura, the Amanda is filling in for them.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amanda Stevens. I was here. I'm the public information and communications director for the Department of Human Services. I was here last month. And we did not have security. I was able to speak with some folks who were here and with my permission, I helped to de-escalate the situation. There was a couple that was seemed disabled, and so we wanted, I think, the escalation was important, but also it was very difficult for everyone. And I think the security really good today. To the chance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, next we have Thaddeus Van.
Aloha. I just want to reiterate the Department of Health statement on transgender health as a public health priority, and also to acknowledge that the Department of Health is here to support the health and well-being of all people in Hawaii. So thank you so much, Commission, for ensuring that.
Thank you, Thaddeus. Okay, next we have our Finance Director's report.
We spent no money.
All right.
No, actually, that's not true. We reimbursed, Cat's in the process of being reimbursed for this room.
Shanda, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you know when the fiscal year actually, has this fiscal year ended officially? Have we closed out? Is that 2025 closed out now for the state? And we're ready to move on?
If the end of the fiscal year is June 30th.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
we are in a new fiscal year.
Thank you. All right, and any public testimony? Yeah. All right.
Online? Did you have something you wanted to say? No. Okay. Anybody online, public testimony, please raise your hand.
Yeah, this is Joe Wilson. Yes, I do have a comment when there's an opportunity.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, commissioners. I just wanted to echo my gratitude for first the existence of this commission, and then for the statements that the commissioners and the ex-officio people who are present made in kind of acknowledging and thinking about how we as a community can address what is unfortunately creeping into the shores here. So I want to just echo support from the community. I'm with an organization called Lepu'ala Queer Histories of Hawaii and participate in the North Shore Ko'olau Diversity Collective to say that we stand ready to ensure that those who wish to use this forum against its stated mission for their goal of instilling misinformation, fear, intimidation, and potentially violence into our community is just, we're not going to stand for it. And perhaps at some point in the agenda, I want to encourage the commission to consider some kind of action that requests the governor's office or other state officials to monitor more closely what's going on here, to ensure that these kinds of disruptions are nipped in the bud, so to speak. And thank you so much for the visibility you're bringing to all these important issues and concerns.
Allison?
Aloha mai kakau. My name is Allison Shiozaki. I live here on Hawaii Island in the area of Ola'a, and I also work with an agency that supports gender affirming care, and I'm working as a youth coordinator with Mahu and Queer Youth. I fully support gender affirming care for trans youth because every child deserves to feel safe and seen as they are. This is medically backed, life-saving, and gives youth a future that they can look forward to. These youth are also people in my dear friend circle, and I cannot emphasize enough how important this is. Thank you.
Kristen Alice.
Aloha, my name is Kristen Alice and I live in Hilo. I'm here because gender affirming care is healthcare and healthcare is a human right. Trans youth are at a much higher risk of suicide than the general population. And there's one easy way that we can decrease that suicide risk, and that is by supporting them and providing gender affirming care. And I just want to say to our transgender neighbors, you are enough, you deserve to be supported, and your healthcare should never be up for debate. Thank you.
Randy Soriano.
Aloha everyone. My name is Randy Soriano. I am the Executive Director of Hawaii LGBT Legacy Foundation. First, I do want to mahalo the commissioners. Your bravery and your leadership through this time is greatly appreciated. The amazing work that you guys are doing with ensuring that the community is elevated and activated in a way that we can support all intersections of our community is greatly appreciated. So mahalo for that. In my work, I have the privilege of, doing the work to create safe spaces for our community, which includes trans youth as well as their families. So I've witnessed firsthand how gender affirming care can help our young people step into themselves with their confidence. And it's very important that they know that they're valued and supported. So the Legacy Foundation, we're definitely going to support however we can. Please know that this is a commitment to our community to ensure that gender affirming care for our trans youth is something that every child deserves, and they deserve to feel safe and respected and celebrated and
Thank
stand.
you.
Thank you, Randy.
Yeah.
Anyone else online?
Hi, sorry, this is, I'll jump in. This is Dr. Laura Anderson, and I'm calling in as somebody who provides care in a gender affirming setting, and can't stress enough, just to echo what a lot of folks have said, that it's misinformation that is getting in the way of basic human rights and needs that kids and families have that are pronounced and that they have a right to. And so I'm here to stand with the community and to urge folks to recognize what the data says and what human rights mandate for those in need, and to stand with folks who understand that we need to get the correct, accurate information out there and let kids make the decisions with their families and their medical providers as these decisions. The decisions should lie where they need to lie in this context. So just to reiterate that very clearly.
Last call for online.
Next, we have a guest speaker, Paul Tonneson.
Paul.
Yes, good afternoon, folks. My name is Paul Tonneson. I am on the island of Maui. I am also the Vice President of Honor Thy Children Foundation, which I know quite a few of you are familiar with the Nakatanis Foundation. And Joe Tolbe had reached out and asked if I would come. I am also a child advocate here on Maui. And I wanted to talk about what it means to be a child advocate. With a lot of the rhetoric that's going around against certain populations of children, it's really important for me. My core responsibility is to protect and uplift all children, especially those who are vulnerable and marginalized, and that includes LGBTQIA+. You know, I don't get to refuse how I help a child based on their identity. It's quite harmful, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the damage, because it reinforces systematic oppression and social exclusion for these children in that population. It endangers the child's well-being, especially if they've already been facing rejection elsewhere. Then it undermines the trust in our communities and institutions that are supposed to be protecting them. There's an old saying, it shouldn't have to hurt to be a child, and that's really important. And it's important we put our prejudices aside. They cloud our ability to see people and to treat people as humans, and we all have them. There's no one that can stand there and say, I'm not prejudiced. Prejudice was instilled into each and every one of us from an early age. It might not be against the LGBTQ, it might not, but for me, it was the Black population. To this day, if I'm walking down the street and a Black person is walking the other way, guess what my brain tells me? Get on guard, right? Because we're instilled unhealthy prejudice about certain populations of people, and also as a young child, we had a very prominent gay couple. One was an attorney and one was a state police officer, and I was told that we were not allowed near that home because they were pedophiles. And they liked, the comment my father always made, they like little boys. Now at 8 years old, I started identifying as gay, and that was my first attempt on my life. My father and I were able to talk about that later in life. And he says, well, that's what my father told me, and we've got to stop carrying these messages of hatred. I heard it all earlier. And thank you for standing up against it, because every child deserves the freedom to explore who they are without fear, without pressure, without expectations. And identity is not something to be dictated, it's something to be discovered. We really need to remove these outside influences. And if people are here today, I really don't care what you think about me. I care what I think about me. And I'm willing to be judged by God, one person. That's who's going to judge me. And by my actions of what I do every day, I have a funny story of, I'm a child advocate here. I was asked to help a rape victim who was identifying as male, transgender child, born female. And I'll never forget, we were walking, part of his healing process, and we were walking by this home in the neighborhood he used to live with, and he says, when I was little, I had the biggest crush on the boy that lived there. Now remember, he went from female to male. So you know what I said? Why in the hell would you trans to male from female if you like boys? I didn't say it, but guess what? My brain did. We're always questioning something we don't know, and it's ignorance. I was ignorant. I went home and told my husband, boy, I got a lot to learn, right? But I went out and I taught myself how to be a better advocate for that particular child, because I didn't understand where this child was. And that's the important part, because every child deserves to grow up safe, seen, and supported, regardless of their race, genders, or sexual identities. My job, I am an advocate on Maui for children. My job is to not only protect them, but begin a healing process when someone has damaged them. I had a call from a person that asked me to help parents that just beat up their gay son. And he was put into foster care. And first thing I said is, I don't help them, I help the child. And they said, please help them. And I'll never forget it. The guy showed up and he was trembling and crying and pleading with me that he just wanted to tell his son he was sorry. He just wanted to hug him. And it was an outside religious influence that made them react when the sun came out to them. You know, but they were willing to go out, and I connected them with the Nakatanis. They sat with Al and Jane. I connected them with Aloha Maui Pride. I connected them with PFLAG. You know, I ran into the child at the college the other day. He's now a college student, and he is this amazing child that has the best relationship with his parents because they were willing to get rid of the prejudice that were instilled into them. And that's my message. We got to, you know, children are always forming a sense of who they are. You know, I get calls because I happen to be a gay man. I think my son's gay. Do you have any literature on LGBTQ children? You know, the son's 13. I said, your son's hitting puberty. Let him figure it out. Let's not go in and start trying to figure it out for him. He's a typical teenager. He's going to figure it out, you know. And I went through it with another kid that I'm a foster parent, and his father kept, you know, he was obviously had some characteristics that you would question his sexuality, and his father used to threaten him all the time during visits. You don't look at boys, da, 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 da. So the father obviously knew. And this child would tell me, one day he said to me, because he's a Molokai boy, he says, I'm just like you. Right after he moved in, I said, oh, Yahali. And he looked at me confused and he said, no, like you and Uncle Richard, right? And I just left it at that. I said, that's good, right? I didn't have to get into an explanation with the child. But then when he'd have family visit, you know, I like girls, blah, blah, blah. And finally, after about 2 years of this, I turned and I said, do me a favor. Don't let someone tell you who you love. Let your heart tell you who you love. And today he's a 23-year-old in a very healthy relationship with a young other gay man, you know. So it's not about promoting myself to the child. It's a lot about the child being able to explore and find out and then make that decision. And I think the best advice I could give is your heart's going to tell you who you love. You know, we have to be empathetic. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity, you know, for all of our children, especially our LGBTQIA plus children during these times. You know, if empathy interrupts the cycles of harm. When we choose to be empathetic, we choose to see, hear, and protect people. We choose to meet them where they are, just like that child that I was walking with, the transgender man. I didn't understand him, but I knew I had to. And I had to find a way that I understood where he was and value and respect that. You know, empathy, it's not a feeling. It's actually, for these kids, it's a form of protection, especially for our LGBTQIA, you know. They've got rejection, they're homelessness. I mean, there's a huge amount of homelessness amongst this population, and then systematic neglect. I'm in the systems over here with all the different agencies that are protecting children, and the comments that come out of some of these workers' mouths is appalling. It's probably some of the comments you heard last week or last month. It's because someone has instilled hatred into them, you know, and it's a very dangerous thing. I don't call it their right. It's hatred. And it's not always loud. It's that caseworker that gets an LGBTQI plus child and doesn't serve them, you know, and then we find out we've lost that child to suicide, right? I mean, and they're out there, there's people, and we got to combat it. We got to stand up to this, you know. It's the mental health part of it alone, the toll it's taking on these kids. And I know as a young child, you know, when I did my attempt, I was supposed to just forget about it and never talk about it again, you know, and I was just in a lot of pain for a lot of times, and I turned to substance use. You know, it's the only way I could figure out how to deal with it, you know, and the bullying and the violence, you know. I mean, these kids are now facing the harassment in schools online and what they're subjected to nationally about who they are, what some of them, if they were in the room last month with your meeting, were subjected to, the hatred of these so-called, I don't know what they call them. I have a word for them. I can't use it because we're being recorded. But they're not nice people, you know, and I can say that, you know, hatred isolates. It teaches children that they are dangerous, that their truth is dangerous, that their love is wrong, that their existence is negotiable, you know, conversion, right? We'll send them to camp and they'll come back straight, right? And empathy's got to be active. It's got to be constantly showing up and speaking out like I am today and creating spaces where these youth can thrive, you know, especially in schools. I'll share another story about what I say about people working with children at risk. This child's mother, single mom, made sure his middle school principal allowed him to go by his name that he chose, his male name, and let him use a bathroom. And when he went into high school, we wanted to make sure, and I was working with the mom because this child was a rape victim, and just to make sure this child was going to have a safe space. And sure enough, he went in and they were guaranteed all this. We worked with the counselors, and one of his teachers started calling him by his female name for roll call. Kept saying it over and over again. And when she finally walked right up to him and said, I'm not going to say, well, Joy, are you here? And now he looks like a male, and the whole class turns to him and says, you're a girl? And he says, that's not my name. She said, until it's legally changed, it is. So, I mean, they're infiltrating everywhere we are. And you know, we've got to be careful. As adults, we've got to choose compassion over comfort. We got to choose courage over silence, you know. And we got to choose love by healing this population and all the populations. You know, I survived the war. I have enough courage. I broke the silence, but these kids don't have those tools. They don't have the ability to be able to do so without a support system in place. And now, like I say, with all this rhetoric that's going around about their animals and their beasts, and especially against the transgender population, talk about immoral. You know?
Thank you, Mr. Tonneson. We really appreciate that.
Okay, thank you guys for your time. And I do apologize. I had a case come up that I'm going to have to leave at 3:30, but I appreciate you allowing the time for me to speak. Thank
you. All right, next up is our commission election and organization. So first election is going to be for our finance director for the 2025-2026 year. What nominations do we have for finance director? I know. Wonderful. Do we have a second? Second. All right. Do we have public testimony?
But you need to ask for any more nominations.
Fine. Does anyone else want to?
I was gonna nominate Rocco.
Oh.
Rocco, do you accept the nomination?
Sure, I'm absolutely willing to accept the nomination.
Nice. I second the nomination.
All right, thank you, Rick. Do we have anyone else? All right. Do we have any public testimony for either of the nominations?
Anyone online? Seeing none.
All right. Let's have a vote then. Are there any abstentions?
Sorry, this is Lily Young,
Lily.
Deputy Attorney General. Hi. You're gonna have to close the nominations first before you take your vote.
Okay, so we closed the nominations,
Okay.
and what we need to do is vote now. So do we have any abstentions from the vote?
No, you have two candidates running. You need to call everybody's name. That's the one. And we have to do our first.
So we're not doing abstentions. Okay,
No, we're not in this one.
all right, so we have, Shanda Brock. Do we have, how many yeas do we have for Shanda?
Am I able to decline?
You are.
I'd like to.
All right, then. So we just have Rocco that we're voting on.
Now you can do the,
Now we can do the public testimony.
no, actually, if there are any abstentions, otherwise it's, or any votes, no, then it's voted, wins by acclamation.
All right, so. We're gonna do the public testimony part.
No, we already offered once. We can offer it again.
All right. All right.
Oh, you have a,
Is it, I apologize for turning it down earlier because I was still catching my breath running up there. It's like, is it too late to do any public testimony just in general?
yes. Well, if there's something on the agenda you want to talk to, you'll have an opportunity.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Okay, so let's have a vote for Rocco. How many yeas do we have? One, two, with,
Joe, Philip, Rocco, you're not gonna vote for yourself? Raise that hand.
So, it looks like it's pretty unanimous.
You know.
Yeah. All right, well, congratulations, Rocco, and welcome aboard. Okay, for our next vote is to update the interim issue resolution policy, and hopefully y'all have taken a look at that. It was on. Here it is. Is everyone taking a look at that? All right. Let's see, what public testimony do we have on our policy? None?
Just so everybody knows that a reason this was being updated is because we expanded the number of vice chairs. This is to ensure that, anybody can bring anything to the chair to address between meetings. But also this does not allow forum shopping, which would be a violation of the Sunshine Law. And it also keeps, gives you a chain of command, as it were, when it comes to it. So, but does not, as you can see from the policy, it does not, does not keep anybody else from bringing anything else up, if they're not the vice chair of that committee or that topic. So the idea is, this was, this policy, this updates to the policy was drafted to address the new vice chairs that there were for the 4 different areas. And to ensure that everybody understood how to get things done between meetings, because there's something that should happen in between meetings.
So we're gonna talk public testimony.
So I'll make the motion that we have passed the updated policy as circulated.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, now. Thank you. All right, now we're gonna close that and go into the vote. Do we have any abstentions on this? All right, how many yeas do we have?
It's unanimous on one.
And how many nays? All right, motion passes. All right. All right, next, we are going to be voting on electing a representative for the Hawaii Civil Rights Coalition.
I wasn't as familiar with this item. Was there some more information that he circulated on this that I missed?
The Civil Rights Coalition?
Yeah.
Well, what it is they meet every Friday for about 2 hours. And they go over the different topics that the Civil Rights Commission is going through and different commissions are talking about from what I've seen. The meetings that I've attended, We have discussed different ways of accessing.
Point of order, this is the Hawaii Civil Rights Commission, acronyms there, not the Hawaii Coalition for Civil Rights.
Oh, well, never mind. So that's once a month. So this is the Civil Rights Commission.
Now, my understanding was that if you were, that you could only serve, and now this would be an Aaron question, I guess, that you could only serve on one state commission at a time. So none of our members, either ex officio or appointed, could serve on another commission like the Hawaii Civil Rights Commission. And
Okay, you want me to start?
Yeah, because I was gonna say.
Okay, this is not, it's not you sitting on the commission, because to do that, you have to go through the whole process on how we became commissioners. This is a representative, well, actually, we actually need to have the discussion as well as if we want a representative, because we've never had this
we
discussion.
never did, okay.
The only thing we have discussed is the Hawaii Coalition for Civil Rights. The Hawaii Civil Rights Commission oversees the non-discrimination policies for the state of Hawaii. So if you've been discriminated against, that's who you go see. And for everybody online and out there in the world, then go to our website, you can have direct links to them, and they tells you what they do there. So do we really want to send somebody to this? Is this the best use of the commissioner's time? Commissioners, everybody and anybody can watch their meetings just like ours. And anybody can go and participate, just like you can do here. But if that's something we want to do, that's fine. I just wanted to we never really had that discussion about sending someone to the Hawaii Civil Rights Commission.
And so I guess that's my question is, so this is not a member of the commission. This is not really a representative of us on the commission. This is really us as a private citizen almost, who just happens to serve on this commission.
No, you are actually, if a motion is made and then the vote is taken, you would be the duly representative of this commission to go to those meetings and be empowered to speak on behalf of the commission at those meetings.
I'm afraid I'm still a little confused. So we don't need to get the permission of the Hawaii Civil Rights Commission. But we're just saying that we're one group that this is something that we could do is if somebody wanted to attend, they could just attend. Like, so for example, Shanda and I attend another group as private practitioners, private clinicians. Okay. And we also can go to the groups that the Legacy Foundation and HHRC that, when you do we attend those meetings and you can go as a representative. But we don't really have to have, but we're not, I'm trying to kind of get my head around what it is we're talking about. Just does anybody want to go, because like Michael said, is it a good use of our time? And also we could go to these meetings if we want to, right? But I guess I'm trying to say, what is it that we're talking about doing? What is the?
So what we're talking about doing, and I was elected to this, was it 2 or 3 months ago? So I've been to 2 or 3 meetings at this point. What you do is you're going as a representative of the LGBTQ plus commission. So whenever they have questions, whenever someone's contacting them because their civil rights have been violated in their LGBT, we can provide insight, context, different things like that in order to help enrich their discussion and their understanding as they make the decisions for these people's civil rights cases. So that is what I was doing on there. So we're voting for someone else to take that place.
Nice.
You're welcome. Okay, so any nominations? It's not a difficult gig. You just have to be available for a couple of hours once a week, once a month to be able to do that.
I can't on Tuesdays and I can.
Okay.
Rocco has his hand raised.
Oh, Rocco, yes.
I was just curious, is there anybody that is on this commission that has a special interest in going to these meetings? Maybe that would be easier for us to find out who has the time or the interest in getting involved with that on our behalf.
I've done this kind of work before, but I was on the federal executive board, and that was basically the counterpart to this from the EEOC has, the federal employees can't use the Civil Rights Commission. And so we had our own. So I served on that for a number of years. I have an interest. Does anybody else, if we want to send somebody and if nobody else wants to do it, then then I would be willing to do it if we want to.
Okay.
But if somebody wants to, I've done it before and it's important work, I could do it.
All right, well, I'm gonna nominate Rick. I make a motion to nominate Rick.
Yeah, I second.
Yeah. Any other nomination? Anyone else interested in doing this? It is quite important, because there isn't an LGBT representation on the commission, so it's good to have. All right, so do we have any public testimony? Well, nominations, no other interest, and what I'm opening up.
Hi, you have to close nominations first. This is
Yes,
Lily.
I did.
Oh, okay, sorry, I missed it. Thank you.
That's okay.
Thank you, Lily.
So now we're listening to public testimony on Rick representing us on the commission. Do we have any public testimony?
Anybody online? Going once, going twice, sold.
All right, so we're moving to a vote for this. Do we have any abstentions from the vote? No, all right, how many yays do we have for Rick to represent us? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we're nice, another unanimous vote. Congratulations, Rick.
It's Tuesdays, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
And I'll forward the emails that I've gotten from them thus far. All right, our next vote is on electing a commissioner to take over quarterly community mixers. And as y'all know, I've been doing this for the last few months with Dr. Camaron Miyamoto, who is an incredible partner in doing this. It's not super difficult, but it is quite important. What it does is it gets us out into the community. People can meet the commissioners. They can get to know what we're doing now on the commission. We bring more people into our meetings and support us. So do we have any nominations for someone who would like to work with Dr. Miyamoto on doing these?
But can I ask a question?
Yes.
I thought, Andrew, maybe you can speak for, I thought HHRC was also going to be part of that effort. Did I end the legacy? No, so.
You're rotating different posts.
Yeah.
So the first one was Legacy Foundation, the next one was HCRC, and the next one was
That where the next one we were?
UH? Yeah, Vick system, in October.
Okay, on this, it's a very easy gig, because we actually, per the Sunshine Law, we don't direct anything. It's the host that gets to direct the meeting that allows, per the Sunshine Law, 4 of us to show up at those meetings in our capacity as commissioners. No more than 4 can show up. Otherwise, we're in violation of the Sunshine Law, but, whoever the host is, they are the ones that direct the meeting. And we're just there to making sure that these happen and take place and finding people to host us, because as we know, using state facilities after hours is difficult. If not next to impossible. So, yeah, so it's a really easy gig that basically what you're being responsible for is working with them. You're booked out through January.
We have the next two.
Next 2 booked, working with them, figuring out how to make those meetings go quicker. So, so there's not always the introductions and that so people can figuring all that out between you and Camaron and the host about how if we host something form they fill out beforehand that people can get it, do a briefer or something like that. But that's for you all to figure out. But that's basically it, and also making sure that once the rainbow, we call it the Rainbow Pauhana Queer Leadership Meeting. I believe is what it's named. Is that what we will?
Canyon did Rainbow Pauhana.
Rainbow Pauhana. Rainbow Pauhana with the sub queer leadership. Mixer.
I'm open to doing that.
Oh, right. So we have Shanda. Anyone else that we can do motions for nominations? Anyone? All right, I make a motion for Shanda to become our representative for this.
Second.
Thank you, Rick. Do we have well, okay, wait, I closed nominations and we're moving into the election. Do we have any public testimony? Nope. All right, no public testimony. Now we're gonna vote. Do I have any abstentions? All right, how many yays do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, all right, another unanimous vote. Wonderful. All right, and that concludes our elections. Congratulations to the new individuals who will be doing all of these jobs. Y'all are wonderful. Thank you. All right, our next is going to be ongoing business and updates. All right, update on the progress for hiring the administrative assistant 2 position.
We are still, they are accepting, applications. It's an ongoing recruitment. Anybody who's interested, we reposted the graphic. This would be for a permanent, position that has all the job responsibilities in the job listing and, so there, and the budget and the pay is in the listing as well. So if somebody's looking for a second career, it's a great way to get your foot in the door here at the state. You would be working half with this commission and half with the commission on top of it.
Yeah.
Just to make sure, okay, and so it's an admin assistant 1 or is it an admin assistant 2? It's admin assistant 2. Okay, so that was the better salary. And so they go to the place on the state jobs, and is it a civil service or a non-civil service? Do we know, is it civil service?
Like we said before in the past, Rick, it's a civil service, full-time civil service, full benefit.
So we'll go to that one. So, okay, so the admin 2, and you just applied, because this one, just making sure somebody had checked with me. And so the admin, go to the admin 2 civil service job, put in your application, even though it won't say commission on it, it'll just say Department of Human Services, Office of the Director. And then they get a response from somebody at the Human Resource for the state. We'll send them a. Okay, thank you.
And so if anyone knows of anyone who needs a job, let them know about this particular position. Yes, Kat.
I know we kind of approached this one before we got Devin, but would there be any leeway on making this a remote position? I think it would be more marketable. No.
Not at this time. That'd be a discussion to have with the director. The only person that can make that call is the director in compliance with DHERD and any other remote, whatever the policies are when it comes to remote work. So if a stellar candidate comes up that wants remote, that can justify it with the director that gets offered the position, it would be that far down the pipe. We have to go through the interviews, and then after the interviews, if you've been offered the job, and part of your negotiation with the director.
We'd open it up to more people who live, an hour away from here.
Well, we can certainly ask the question. Thank you, Kat. All right, do we have any public testimony on this?
Online, going once, going twice, sold.
All right, moving on to the next one. Update on commission legislative priorities for the 2025 legislative session. Got the legislative tracker, yes.
The only reason this is still on here is that we need to, Rodriguez, are you still on?
Me, David?
Hi, David. Did we ever get a response from the director on our request to have a seat on the working group that was created from SCR 145?
You're talking about the family leave working group?
Medical leave.
Yeah, so that group hasn't met. All indications are is unlikely to meet, only because the governor said that he's not in support of any new programs. And
Okay.
Right now the fiscal situation isn't too great. So we're hesitant to actually start a working group if there's no funding for it in the future. But I'll let you know if I hear if they do stand it up. But as far as I know, we haven't made a move yet.
If you guys go to stand it up, could you please remind the director of our request to have representation on that task force?
I will do that.
Okay, thank you. The other thing is we're waiting to hear back. I want to send a letter to LRB. That's a legislative reference bureau for everybody in Zoom land and here. They are the ones that have been tasked with, it wasn't a concurrent resolution, so they're not actually required to do this. And that was to do a review of the Hawaii revised statutes to remove gender specific terms, go to gender neutral terms, Like currently in our tax law, it says a married couple, husband and wife, in several different locations, and there's some other heteronormative terms that exclude our community from the tax codes as well as the recognizing marriage equality. So we're waiting to see if they actually are going to do that, and if they do that, and I will keep you abreast of that. See.
Any other updates? All right, do we have any public testimony?
Online, any public testimony online? Going once, going twice, sold.
All right, next is update commission's website.
The website has been updated. Thank you, Sean. That's why we'll be meeting with afterward this meeting, go over some things. One of the requests that I've gotten from multiple different communities and organizations is that we now go back and include the commissioners' sexual orientations and gender identities on there. And we're seeing that more and more in the state commissions on the continent because representation does matter. So you'll be getting an email from me asking if you choose not to do it, that's up to you. But for example, I will be listing gay, cisgender men or cis men for myself. So we can see, because representation does matter, and visibility, equality through visibility. So you'll be getting that email from me. If you have anything else you want added to the website, please send me links and the verbiage you like there. As a reminder, the glossary is up and going. We had an update to that. And anybody else that wants to submit updates, there is a link on the glossary. And I have gotten some really great feedback from that. It's helpful for our state partners here as well as legislators when talking about our community. And so I'll encourage everybody to check that out. And so if you're missing something, you see a term that's missing, go ahead and fill out the form and we will get it updated as on a case-by-case basis.
I have a question. I have heard from a couple different community members that they would like a link to the agenda and board packet on our website. Is that realistic?
Not necessarily, because the agenda is available on, there is a link to it if you click on the state calendar. And that will take you to the state calendar, because that's where it needs to be posted.
But then they have to.
They have to type in LGBT, and it's the first thing that will pop up. And it's the only thing. So, not this, because we do not have, since Sean helps us when he can, we're not his top priority when it comes to these things. And we're very grateful for the work that we do get from Sean. So right now, I'm going to say no, it's not anything that can happen anytime soon, because it's such a quick turnaround with things with the agenda. The agendas, just so everybody knows, the agendas are required to be up on, what is that, Tuesday before our meetings at 2:30. Board packets have to be up that following day by 2:30. And so, yeah, so that's, I don't really see that as a possibility, but there is links to that. And the links to the agenda are on all our social medias. I have been making that very clear and very available.
Do we have any suggestions for inclusions on the website from anyone? Yes, Rocco.
Oh, sorry. I was wondering, I was looking multiple times and maybe I'm just missing it, but is there a link to our social media on the website?
Yes,
I feel like there are. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I must just be. But that's great.
Any other suggestions? All right, do we have any public testimony? Moving on to the next update on letter to the governor requesting an executive order from Governor Green to turn Hawaii into a sanctuary state for gender affirming care. What public testimony do we have for this?
Hold on. The update is there is no update as of last meeting. So we're still holding pattern on this.
All right, public testimony. Oh,
You want to do the, you want
yeah,
to
let's do
Zoom?
the room first. Anyone in the room? Yes.
Hello, my name is Josh Roach. I am a resident of Chinatown, Honolulu. And I want to speak out in support of gender affirming care for youth in the state. I think it is important that we protect people's rights to their own medical care. I also believe that we should not allow things like Christian mythology to determine what needs to happen for other people. So I also think that is a very bad idea and should not happen.
Thank you, Josh. Anyone else in the room? Yes, Andrew.
Hi, everyone. My name is Andrew Ogata. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications over at the Hawaii Health and Harm Reduction Center. And we stand in support of this. We've been supporting Hawaii's Maui and transgender community for 40+ years, and we believe it's a right. And we just would really like to see the governor sign this into an executive order, but we stand in support.
Anyone else? Yes.
My name is Roger, and I support the executive order in the Hawaii Sanctuary for Gender Affirming Care. This is about protecting trans youth and their family from hostile laws in other states, not taking away parents' rights. It's not about rushing anyone into medical procedures. It's about ensuring those who seek care here can do so safely, legally, and with dignity. Our keiki deserve compassion, truth, and evidence-based healthcare, not fear or misinformation.
Yes.
Aloha, my name is Taylor Gilmore Johnson. I live in Makiki, though I was born and raised in Hilo, and it really hardens me to see how many people from the Big Island turned out. I unequivocally stand for this executive order to make us a sanctuary state for trans youth, because it is such an important step in personal growth at such a formative time for our youth to be able to explore themselves comfortably and to be able to develop without fear of who they are. Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor. Anyone else in the room? Yes.
Hi, my name is James William Manolani Sheether, and I just wanted to say that I support the idea of this being a sanctuary state. I think there's a terrific amount of Hawaiian culture that is held by Mahu people. The Kapai Mahu that were just, given the plaque recently. There's also, this is a financial issue as well. Like, it would bring money to the state, especially as hostility towards these groups ramps up on the continent. They're looking for somewhere to go. This is money. I think that's how you sell this to the governor. This is financial. And so it's practical. It makes sense. It's historical. There's cultural relevance. I think there's a lot of good reasons to argue for this, all aside from the politics.
Thank you, James. Anyone else from there? Yes.
I'm Cassandra Burns. I come here as a parent, and I believe that this, I'm going to support the sanctuary state. And kids, this isn't a thing that can be used as a religious or political debate. This is human rights. Just get to the core of it. Children deserve that, and if we can offer that and spread that aloha even further, because things are getting bad in a lot of places. So I think offering it here would be great. I mean, it's a great community to do it in.
Thank you, Cassandra. Anyone else? All right, we'll go online now.
Okay, I'm gonna call your name. Please unmute yourself, state your name, and you have 1 minute. First one up is Jamie Detweiler.
Aloha, mai kako. My name is Jamie Detweiler. I stand in opposition. I stand on my written testimony as well. Stand in opposition of any efforts for an executive from the governor on creating a sanctuary state for gender affirming care. I oppose any efforts for this executive order. I oppose grooming of minors. We're talking about minors here towards chemical and surgical interventions, which are irreversible. I'm not in opposition of adults in their gender identity at all. And I really do come with aloha, humility, and respect for everybody here. And I love all the stories of advocacy from each and every one of you. I respect that. but we're talking about minors and we're talking about creating a sanctuary state. And, you know, there's so many ramifications that come with that. And, you know, thank you.
Next up is Dan Bargarian.
Good morning, good afternoon, Dee Dangaran. I'm an assistant professor of law at Richardson. I wanted to say a couple of things that were not in the letter. There were comparisons to other states, but there's actually an immigration comparison to be made in United States of America versus the state of California. In April 2019, during the first Trump administration, sanctuary cities were upheld as constitutional by the Ninth Circuit, which obviously governs Hawaii law. So I think the letter should include a mention of this jurisdiction already allowing sanctuary cities. Of course, in state law, we already have reproductive rights as a sanctuary city. This is not about health. This is about privacy. This is about the privacy of medical documents and information and the privacy of prosecuting our citizens. We do not need more Hawaiian citizens in prison. And I'd love to hear about health from the Department of Public Health if there is a statement on transgender health, which might respond to some of the statements from others. But again, this is about privacy and it's already permitted and there's no reason that the governor cannot do this. Thank you.
Thank you. And next.
Carrie Jones.
Aloha, this is actually Tina Snap and my wife is Carrie Jones. We absolutely support what your committee is trying to do. And I hear the stories of my childhood through what's been talked about today. And we just want to give our support and want to understand how to stop some of this rhetoric on next door, which is what we really saw today that I tried to combat. Thank you.
Next up is Dan Paul. Dan Paul.
Dan Paul.
Sorry, was just having trouble with the unmute. Hi. So I am here in support of making us a sanctuary state. I just think that you know, the science doesn't lie, and there is an epidemic of teen suicide, and this gender affirming care does nothing but help that situation. And so I'm just here in support of saving teens.
Joshua.
Joshua.
Aloha, everybody. My name is Joshua Hoagland, and I'm a medical case manager for Kumakahi Health and Wellness. And I stand in support of Hawaii being a sanctuary city. I can tell you from my own personal journey, at the age of 18, I was placed in reparative therapy in the state of Tennessee. And if I had received affirming care, my life definitely would have turned out quite differently at that young age. So I stand in utter support of minors getting the care and the love and support that they desperately need.
Thank you. Joe Wilson.
Thank you. I just wanted to echo the support that all of the affirming testifiers have provided. But I also wanted just to put on the record that the best case made today for the need for such an executive order is the testifier who perversely and hypocritically introduces a term like grooming. That demonstrates exactly what the dangers are for young people and their loving families who are doing everything they can to protect them from the hostility that is out there. So I appreciate the commission's efforts to keep this moving forward towards the governor's desk. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared.
Thanks.
Thanks so much. I can't provide testimony on behalf of the health department, but I did want to respond to Dr. Dangaran's request. So I put in the chat, but the Department of Health does have a statement on transgender rights and public health. So I'm just responding to that comment. Thank you.
Dean?
Dean Howard?
Aloha, everybody. I'm Dean Hamer. I'm with Leipuala Queer Histories of Hawaii. And I just wanted to reiterate my support for Hawaii becoming a sanctuary state. I think a lot of us here don't realize just how vehement the opposition has become on the continent. And I can see even here now in Hawaii, people testifying using terms like surgical and chemical mutilation for gender affirming care. I started my medical training in 1972 at Harvard. I was 35 years at the NIH, and every physician, every healthcare worker, every psychologist, everyone who I've ever met who was treating kids with gender were people that were not mutilating. They were trying to protect people and to help people and to help their lives. So I think it's going to be important more and more that there be a refuge. And whether or not people will actually come here, it's important for people to know that there is a rational approach to healthcare still available in our country. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else online? Otherwise, we're gonna close out public testimony. Actually, as a commissioner, I'm going to use my privilege. Jamie Detweiler, are you still on the line, please?
Yes, I am.
Jamie Detweiler, this is a yes or no question. Are you aware that Hawaii does not allow minors to seek gender affirming care without the approval of the parent or guardian?
I'm aware of that, sir. I'm also aware.
No, Jamie,
Yeah,
I said yes or no. Thank you. No.
I'm also
Jamie,
aware
I'm
that
reclaiming
there
my
was
time. Thank
legislation.
you. Jamie,
Sir, if I
these are
may,
yes or
sir.
no questions. No. No, Jamie, I told you I had yes or no questions, and we're gonna move on through these quickly. So do you support parental rights? Yes or no?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so do you realize by not allowing this state to become a gender affirming care sanctuary state, you are taking away parental rights? Yes or no?
This is not about me.
No, I'm asking, yes, it is. I'm asking.
This is
you
not about me.
You testified on your behalf, so I'm asking you a couple of questions. Are you aware that you're taking away parental rights by not having this as a sanctuary state? Yes or no?
This is not about me, sir.
Yeah, it is. I asked you a question. Are you refusing to answer? I can move on to my next question.
This is about circumventing legislation.
No,
SB 1150 was
okay, thank you. One more question, if you're willing to answer, yes or no?
Sure. I'll entertain another question.
Are you opposed to all executive orders?
I'm not opposed to all executive orders, but
Okay,
I think proper legislation.
Thank you. We're moving on.
All right, great
Thank
job,
you
Michael.
for muting me.
Okay, so next we have the update on letter to Maui Preparatory Academy donors regarding Maui Preparatory's anti-LGBTQIA+ policies for students. We're opening up for public testimony.
Actually, there is no real update as far as works on our side. We have not received anything. We are going to, something will be submitted for next meeting for us to discuss, to send out another follow-up letter to these donors and broadening our school, especially as we head into the start of the school session. And Maui Prep is going to, from everything we've heard, begin to discriminate against our Mahu queer LGBTQIA+ students. Because as we've seen, they start with trans and they work their way back down the alphabet. And they think that our trans kids are easy pickings, and we need to prove that fair. So we will be, there'll be something on next month's agenda with something to move forward on this.
Thank you, Michael. All right, opening up to public testimony. Anyone in the room that would like to provide public testimony? All right, moving online. Anyone online that would like to provide public testimony? Dr. Michael?
Does anybody that wants the public testimony going once? Going twice. Sold.
All right, next is update on queer community leaders meeting and community calendar. Would you like to update?
I'll share that we're scheduled for October, in Bachman Hall. Sponsored by the Office of the President. Commission on LGBTQ. I've been in communication with the Office of the President, and she has confirmed that she would like to.
What is the date?
Yeah, he's scheduled. Still working that out with President's schedule.
Wonderful, thank you, Cameron. And Shannon, we want you.
I'm sorry, Cameron, you said Bachman Hall?
Yeah.
And is that the one where the conference was by the student center? Where is that?
No, Bachman's right on the corner, so it's officially UH system and not UH Mānoa, but it's okay, on the same.
Thank you. That's it.
For the border. Yeah.
Thank you for getting the president to come to that. That's great.
All right, any public testimony on this? In the room first?
Oh, yeah, I have a quick, actually before, Randy, sir, Randy, are you still on? Cause it's also about the community calendar. Community calendar, and everybody, so the Legacy Foundation has started their, what's that called? Portal. There you go. So the portal is available on their website. This is something that Legacy Foundation is offering for everybody that you can go and fill that out. And we will be pushing that out for everybody to fill out. That again, this is open for LGBTQIA plus supportive organizations. So no turf stuff. Sorry. Anyways, yeah, so that's just that. And thank you to the Legacy Foundation for doing this and providing this service. So we don't have double bookings and triple bookings of things, or at least fewer. That's happening.
Yes, thank you, Legacy Foundation. All right, next is update on addressing the needs.
Not public.
Oh. Okay. All right, so there was none in the room. Do we have any? Oh, you do have public. All right.
I believe the community calendar works very well. Hawaii is a very small area. We can't always pull from the same time. I really think it's a great idea for anyone, if you're gonna do a donation time, if you're gonna do a big event. I would go with that community calendar because then, okay, let's say, you know, this person wants to do theirs, we all know, okay, that's that. So we're not pulling at the same time and making, okay, everyone has a choice. So like Saturday, this Saturday, next Saturday, bam, easy.
Anyone else? In the room? Anyone online?
Going once, going twice, sold.
All right, next is update on addressing the needs of our community's kupuna, especially Mahu, trans, non-binary, and intersex.
Do you want to talk about the sage table here?
Yes, Shanda's been working with a group called SAGE. And if I take a second, I'll remember what that stands for. But it's the national group that works with LGBTQ people my age. And what we do is they work to try to make sure that people are involved, active. One of their programs is an interesting idea. I saw it at the meeting that Michael and I attended in Vegas. Shanda talked to them, and it's a group where they have periodic meals, lunches, dinners, and events that take people from a certain age group, let's say 60, you know, AARP, and then they take young people from a generation. The idea is that in some cases, these young people, college age, we'll say, have lost their contact with their families. They maybe aren't from here, or their families aren't supportive, and so they don't have that intergenerational feedback. And sometimes a lot of our community members at my age, we've seen our friends come and go, right? We're not getting younger. We also, maybe people have moved on. And what's happened is they become isolated. They sit in their house without a whole lot going on. So having that once a month time to look forward to and get together and to share. So you have maybe, our idea is to start out small, maybe 10 young people and 10 seniors. And it's all from the community, and it's just a meal. It's not a program. There's not speeches, but we do try to facilitate communication between the people. we've reached out, we have, Camaron's gonna help, Andrew's gonna help, everybody's helping, and there's a group, Thaddeus is part of the group, where's he at there? And so a lot of people are helping, we have, we've got donors, people have already said, if you do it, we'll pay for the food, which is always good. We've had people offer, our first one is going to be at St. Clement's. You know, in Makiki on Wilder and Makiki, and there's a bus stop right on the corner and they have parking. And there's a whole hall that has a kitchen and tables and chairs. So we're looking at, September 27th, it's a Saturday lunchtime. And our next step is to make our guest list of people who would like to participate. We'll have that first group. You kind of have to know how many people you're planning on because you're buying food, right? And we'll have that, and we'll bring in people, and we want people to have fun, and then we'll see where we go from here. But I think it will be a nice idea. The people in Maine are doing this because it's a very rural state and people live out in the woods and these little country roads and stuff. And so anyway, and they say it really helps with the isolated people. And they said that they've gotten great feedback from their young participants. They actually run a week-long camp, and this is one part of their thing is that they have these meals. And they said, without fail, the number one, so, you know, what do you call it when you take a survey at the end and you say, yeah, I liked it? Their number one item was that they day with the kapuna, even though they don't say that word. So, I'm sorry, go ahead, Shanda.
No, thank you for going over that. And if anybody's interested, we have started a Gmail account that you can email us at. SGM means sexual and gender minority. So the email is agingsgmhawaii@gmail. So if you're interested, go ahead and email us. And then we're also talking with some grant recipients that are working on improving care for our LGBT kapuna in the state. So that's awesome. And then I have on the board packet this self-attestation form for care home owners, and that's what I want your guys' input on. This is people who have a care home or something like that can fill out this form and say, I support the LGBT community and you can trust me with your kapuna. And there are other places that it could be hosted, but I think posting it on our website would be great. So I recommend that.
Thank you. All right.
Was that a motion?
Yes.
So, going into the motion section. So Shanda, you made a motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Richard. Let's see.
I have a couple questions.
Yes.
Who's gonna build the food?
It's in the board.
No. To post the form, is it something that someone's gonna fill out digitally, or they just download the form, have them fill it out? Or is it like a Google
We're
form?
talking about a Google Doc.
You're talking about a Google Doc? Who's gonna build it?
That's an excellent question. I honestly not sure how that goes. I believe Thaddeus said that he would help us with it, but then I don't know how to get that into our website.
Yeah, it's simple. Thaddeus, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, you're speaking about the survey for people to sign on for the SAGE table, is that correct?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
for the form that's in the board packet.
For the Kapuna Committee, the self-attestation for care home operators.
Oh, I can help you with that, and then I think I can help you with whoever's working on your website to just embed the survey form, or even just use it as a link, and then you could just hyperlink it. Yeah, but just I guess let me know, and then I could help you folks with that.
All right, so we're gonna snap.
I just want to say something that I think this is a great idea. At Hawaii Health and Harm Reduction Center, we run a transgender services program, social services program, and this is something that we work with a lot with our aging transgender kupuna, where we have people that have been living their lives for the last 30 years as like Cindy, and they're going into these care homes and they're being called Carl because their identifications are not matched or whatnot. So this is something that we've actually run into it as a institutional problem within our community. So it'd be really great to have this kind of a resource where people identify that we are a safe space or whatnot for the aging LGBTQ community. I think it's awesome.
If I could add to what when I worked at Castle, we were making placements, and the problem with the few trans people we had, especially, we had other problems too, but was that very few of the care home operators keep single private rooms. Usually they're doubles. And so they would say, oh, is it a male room or a female room you want this person to go into? And we would say, well, she would like to go into a female room. And then then there would be an issue later. But we also had an issue too with just couples who were coming in because a lot of our kapuna didn't marry in those days. And so we would say, well, he's coming to see his husband, and they let the wives come and stay all day and assist even with bathing, but they weren't letting another man come in. I don't know why. So anyway, but this very, very important thing. And at the meeting that we went to, we attended a meeting where Shanda spoke to the Association of Residential Care Operators. And at the end of the meeting, people even from the state were coming up asking their questions. So there is interest. Thanks.
All right, thank you. So we've got our two motions. First, it says to vote on it. So let's vote on it. Let's see.
Ask any further public testimony.
I will vote.
You can't vote without public testimony.
All right. All right. So public testimony in the room. Nope. All right. Any online?
Going once, going twice, sold.
All right. Now we're going to vote on it and go in the correct order. So everyone, are there any abstentions? How many yays do we have? All right.
All three online.
Yes, so we have another unanimous. Good job. All right. Let's see, that passes. Our next is update on the commission's 2025 Pride participation. We have Kona and Honolulu that are coming up in the next couple of months, or I guess that's so next couple of months. All right, updates.
Rocco.
We're ready to go on this end. So I think I just kind of need to get an outline from the commission, how many are coming, and what we're gonna do for the booth setup is probably just gonna be the same thing that I took over to Hilo. That seemed to work pretty well. But if you have any suggestions, please let me know. Otherwise, we have a nice little spot reserved. And I won't be available to work the booth, so.
Rocco, will there be a covering? Will there be a tent?
I do have one that I'm saving for our commission, yeah.
Thank you.
And a table and chairs.
And table and chairs. And I don't mind setting it up. I just won't be available to man it throughout the day. So that's why it would be helpful to know who's coming.
Yes, Paul.
Yes, Phil.
Great. That's exciting.
Rocco, I'm considering coming. Can you, I might have some other travel, but can you just briefly explain, like, what is the day like so I could figure out, like, when am I flying over or flying home or how long or what time it starts and ends and all that?
Sure. Yeah, we have 6 events Friday through Sunday, but the main festival is on Saturday from noon to 5 p.m. So that would be the biggest thing that you would not want to miss.
Okay, thank you.
Joe had to stand up as well.
I was just gonna pretty much ask the same thing that Philip just asked, because I want to make my flight to make sure I get there prior to the start of all of that, and then back home again after that, or before it ends.
Okay, so if you haven't already reached out and you don't have you on the list and you want to travel, you do need to let Devin know by Wednesday. So there's time to do the paperwork on this. There is, since we are now a year into this, there is no reimbursements for travel. If you buy airfare, it's going to be on your own dime. It's my understanding. So the state will pay for your airplane tickets. You will, just so everybody understands how this works. The state will also pay for the rental car. Right now we have one,
It's the one.
just the one rental car.
So if you need a ride.
You need a ride. Just so, I've already put my thing in, I'm coming in at like 9:30, something like that, on that Saturday. And leaving at the last flight out to Honolulu, which is at 9 o'clock that night. Again, the commission's only paying for fly in and fly out, since, as Rocco just stated, it's from 12 to 5. So we're coming in hot to go help set up, and then, as Kat has stated, it's a hot day out there, so we're gonna need to rotate everybody an hour on, hour off at least. And since Rocco's gonna be busy, please let us know, because right now we have Kat, Shanda, and myself going for sure, and Sandy.
I
So,
thought I had already put my hand up 1 or 2 months ago when it first came up.
okay, like I said, you need to reach out to Devin to make sure that's, and figure out which flights you would like and send that information to Devin, so Devin can start working on your paperwork.
Okay, I'll follow up.
Okay, so, yes, Philip.
Just, you mentioned about air reimbursement hotel for those of us that are not one little hop away. There may not be a flight after 5 p.m. that gets me back to Kauai. I may have to stay overnight. Would a hotel be reimbursable?
I think there's justification if there's no flights.
If there's nothing after 5 p.m. from Kona that will get you back to Kauai that night. Hotel.
I'm sorry, you're both kind of breaking up, and I missed all of that.
If there is no flight that will get you back after the 5 p.m., yes. A
Okay.
hotel can be reimbursable,
Okay, thank you.
but that has to be part of your travel. And you need to look at your hotel flights, and like I said, Wednesday, because it takes time to do this paperwork, and Kona is breathing down our necks.
Will do.
On that
Thank
note, we are ordering 3 new signs, table signs. They're gonna be one about our website, one signing up for the meeting notices, as well as one for the glossary. And those will be ordered this week, and we're ordering new stickers as well to give out for the tables.
Thank you. Do we have an update on the Honolulu Pride?
We have registered, everything's there. It's gonna be it's my recommendation that we only do the parade, not the festival. It's way too much work. No offense to Legacy, but, we don't have a lot of stuff to give away, and it's very much a free, give me stuff, or be party. So we really don't have that, that it doesn't fit our brand just as yet. So again, this is fly in and fly out. So, and you're gonna need to let us know sooner rather than later, Rocco, Joe, and Philip, if you're gonna be flying over. And again, find those flights that you'd like, email Devin with them, and we can start that paperwork, because we have already registered for the parade. And we'll have more details as we move forward.
Thank you, Michael.
Is Rocco gonna stand up?
No, I think I checked. Michael's.
Oh, is it not?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it is.
No, it's Michael's.
Oh.
Or no, Devin's, I guess. I kept thinking it was someone. Okay, let's see, some public testimony on this. Anyone in the room want to give public testimony? Anyone online like to give public testimony? All right, I don't see anyone. So the next is a very important one, update on collecting hate crimes data discussion.
I'm gonna ask them to table this, given the time, and there's really nothing, except for I do want to point out that as violent crime has gone down across America, we have not seen hate crimes follow. And given the fact that the current fascist regime in the White House does not recognize transgender, gender non-conforming, and we're not going to be seeing any training out of that from the FBI, but we are going to need to start tracking, and that the state has failed to, the bill failed this last year. So that is something that I think that we definitely need to keep on our radar.
And if anyone has seen the new FBI data on hate crimes, I think it's not nearly 18% of hate crimes in the US are against LGBT people, and 5.1% of those are against trans people, which make up less than 1% of the population. So really think about the excessive amount of violence that people are experiencing.
We actually don't see that data here in Hawaii because of the flawed hate crimes law and how it's being, and how the hate crimes law is being implemented.
All right, so that's tabled. All right, next is update on Hawaii Department of Education actions taken or to be taken in response to the required certification to end all diversity, equity, and inclusion practices to receive federal funding.
Since we don't have Beth here today, I think we table this and move on to the next.
All right, we're gonna table that. We'll touch on it again next meeting. Okay, next is update from Genders and Sexualities Alliances Advisors Meetup.
I can speak to that.
Yeah, go ahead, Dennis.
Sure, yeah, so we have heard back from, I think everyone was gone during the summer break. So the advisors that are still available are currently giving feedback on how and when and in what capacity they would like to meet. So that's moving forward. Thanks everyone for your patience. I think everyone was on vacation.
Do you have any public testimony in the room? Online.
Going once, going twice, sold.
All right, excellent. Next is the 2026 legislative priorities. All right, so we've got to vote for legislative priorities for 2026.
Given the length of time, I'm gonna ask that we table this till next meeting.
right.
I encourage everybody, every commissioner to review the executive summary from the survey that went out. Look at what we did this last session and see, and also this is gonna be your reminder that if you do take on a lead, that I am not going to be doing your heavy lifting for you this next session, like I did last session. That means you're going to have to find someone to draft your bills. That means you're gonna have to find someone to help you introduce those bills for you. So commissioners, keep that in mind, that I cannot or will not take up that heavy lifting again this next time, because you all had a year to learn the system, legislative process at least, and start building relationships with our legislators. So keep that in mind, and we'll be picking that up the next month.
All right, so we'll pick that up in September. Next is update on 2025 commission fiscal and legislative report to the governor and legislators.
It's been submitted. We're waiting to hear back from Aaliyah that the director has signed off on it. Once that is done, it will be posted to the, once it's submitted to the legislature, it'll be posted to the capital.hawaii.gov website, which you can see the draft of it in our board packet.
Any public testimony in the room? Any public testimony online? Excellent. All right, next is update from Hawaii Coalition for Civil Rights. Okay, I guess that's me because that's the one I was representing before. So no big updates. What they're doing is monitoring situations on the mainland, particularly with Washington, D.C. Being sent into a situation where they're going to be basically military presence running the city. So it does have a lot of people in the coalition's hackles raised, obviously, especially with as much aggression as places like Honolulu have been shown in the past by the RNC. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that. They are encouraging citizens to understand what their rights are when it comes to monitoring ICE, how to do it, what they can do, what they cannot do, and all of the things like that. So make sure that anyone that you know who is interested in ensuring that our civil rights are not encroached upon either helps out with the coalition, understands what the coalition is doing, or at least seeks out some kind of guidance on how they can participate in the community. Yes, Rick.
Well, just for our situational awareness, ICE does now have officers working with Kaneohe Bay Marine Corps Base, and they're doing check-ins and check-outs. They also are now taking, some of my patients are reporting that, and I can say this because I'm not identifying, but there'd be Coast Guard from Hawaii and reservists are now being sent, are going to be sent to California to assist with what they call interdiction, but it really is ICE, with all the ICE related stuff. So they now are taking Hawaii guys and sending them to the main.
Yeah, and there is some murmuring about the possibility of ICE starting to pick up homeless people and sending them away. So that is another major concern that Hawaii in general is going to be having to contend with very, very soon. All right, let's see. Oh, public testimony on that. In the room, yes.
There's a great app called Ice Block that you can download. It's one click to report an ice sighting and it's anonymous. I highly recommend.
Okay. Thank you very much, Roger. All right, next is, let's see. Okay, Olelo coverage of board meetings, submission to the Hawaii State Archives and airing on Olelo channels and app. We're gonna table that because I have not had an update from Adam thus far. Okay, we're moving on to new business. Discussion on statement condemning medical organizations abandoning trans community. See board packet. Hopefully y'all take a look at that draft letter.
That's one for you.
There it is. All right, hopefully you've read across this, this letter that we'll be sending to the medical facilities here in Hawaii.
It's not a letter, it's just a statement, and we'll be posting it to our social media.
Yes.
And who would we be sending these letters to?
Again, not a letter, it's a statement like we do with our other statements that were done. Posting it to our social media channels to showing that we are standing up against.
So just posting, not,
Yeah.
so it wouldn't go actually to an individual?
No.
Okay. No, that was, I just had a question about where it's going.
So, I make the motion and we, adopt the statement with the understanding that anybody that votes no, whose name will not appear on the list.
Okay.
And I would like to have a further discussion on this before we even have that bill, if possible. I submitted late to the board packet my stance, which is I share the concern about the trans community. Of course, I'm 100% in support of gender affirming care and all gender affirming care. And I would like us to have a more collegial attitude and tone toward the major medical organizations in this state. I proposed an example of an alternative statement that we can put. Because I don't want to start with hate and flaming ourselves. I think that we can build bridges and encourage the medical organizations to support our community. There's only one that has actually spoken that they are doing this. And I would be more than happy to begin reaching out to those folks and try to have a conversation with, it was recommended to me that we reach out to the boards. So the board of directors for organization has the authority to guide policy, whereas other people are worried about liability and legal and money. But if we can reach out to the boards, they can say, hey, we need to take care of our people. So I think that we should not, absolutely not send the letter as it is currently written. And I have an alternative letter that is in the board packet that I am offering as an alternative.
Okay, all right, awesome. So we need to discuss which way to go with that. Do we want to go ahead and post this one? Or do we want to tone down the language to make it more of a mediation factor between the community and our medical providers? Yes, go ahead.
That'd be great if you were talking back in January of this year. That'd be perfect. But the medical community has already stepped up, these medical organizations have already stepped up and said how which way they're going by the complicity with the Trump administration, by the fact that they abandoned the trans community when it came to SB 1150. There were these conversations with these medical organizations about supporting trans organizations. And if you go back and you look at the SB 1150 testimony, and we received zero. We reached out to them when this bill would actually protect them and their providers, and they refused to step up to the plate. There comes a time when you need to, and I saw in your letter that this is very fierceful advocacy. And we've come to that point. We are beyond fierceful advocacy. They're picking up homeless people. They're picking up American citizens. They picked the trans community because they think they're an easy pick. And it's great that you want to have these conversations. These conversations should have been going on earlier this year. But as we've seen time and time again, they bend the knee. And we are here to advocate per our statutes for our LGBTQI plus community. And I understand that you're talking about being all collegial with people that have already, but as far as I am concerned, they've already chosen the side. Their silence is deafening and the actions they are actually taking are detrimental. And we as a commission have a responsibility to the entire queer community as being one of the few state entities that is actually saying things in a timely fashion, in a timely manner, and being forthcoming when it comes to these issues. I am not here to represent the medical complex that has abandoned the trans community. I am here to represent the queer community of Honolulu, the city and county of Honolulu. That's why I said you're on this commission. Like, you represent the SGM. And I think that, like I said, that would be a great conversation that I've had earlier this year, or these conversations that have been going on. And the responses we've gotten is after you. And it's very clear when they won't even stand up and protect their own people in SB 11. And then they see Kaiser bending the knee. And everybody's like, oh, what about Medicaid and Medicare? They're killing that anyways. Where do we draw the line? Again, these are hills that are we going to die on? And when it comes to protecting and making it a very forceful statement, because that's what I do, is standing up that our trans community has been neglected by the state government, neglected by our county governments. We are one of the few remaining state entities that do, besides the Hawaii Civil Rights Commission, which thankfully that they're there, and they started their program of reminding people that no matter what executive order is still out there, we still have our non-discrimination policies in the state. And if you've been discriminated against, please reach out to them. And I left this to, I did not actually do a statement like we've done before with Kat and I left this and waited, hopefully that when somebody would step up and write something beforehand, but nobody did. So we need to lead. And going kumbaya to a medical group that has already chosen their sides, as far as I'm concerned. But I'm not sure how everybody else feels, but it's very clear that the medical community or these medical corporations, be it Queens, Kaiser, they've already made their statements. They made their statements deafening in opening times.
And I'm just trying to offer some kind of a compromise here. Would it be possible for Shanda to write this letter on behalf of herself as a commissioner to go out, and then we see what kind of headway she makes as far as negotiations or getting anybody to talk to her, and then we come back to stronger stance if can't get anywhere?
I think starting the discussion with comparing our medical organizations to Nazi Germany is a good way to draw so much negative attention onto the state, onto our medical organizations from the national administration, and I don't see that as being productive. I see most of this fire being lit as a result of Kaiser's refusal to continue doing gender affirming surgeries on youth. I will be honest with you, I don't know of a single youth in this state that has had gender affirming surgery before 18. So that we're not talking about tens or hundreds of people. And if we push this really hard, odds are excellent that we will lose larger gender affirming care for trans folks. I don't want to have to explain to people how they can't get their hormones anymore because we made gender affirming surgery for minors the hill that we will die on. So I support the trans community. I support our LGBT community, and this tone, even if we're not backing up into my take on it, and apparently I should have done more before, and that's on me. But even if we don't do that, the language in this, I think, is is abhorrent, and I hope that we don't do this. That's-
Yeah, thank you for this conversation and Shanda for bringing that important package. I think there is a time for being vigilant and making sure we stand up and fight for the communities we represent. But I also think it's really important for us to go with any bridges and to move forward with legislative action. I feel that it's a dangerous thing to start with an Instagram post or post on social media as a first contact, as the official conversation between this commission and any organization. Just on past actions, when the commission did that to the University of Hawaii, it ruined the reputation of this commission and things happened there. So we had to have conversations about why did you not talk to us first for putting things on Instagram. So those are the private conversations we had to have before we move forward. So that's why they support Shanda reaching out to others. And then based on the conversation, go ahead.
Well, I do want to correct the record right there. You sit on this commission, you got the board packet, you had the agenda. You knew it was going to be a thing. If you could not make it, you can send in a replacement as we see with Amanda here. So that wasn't done in secret, it wasn't done in the dark of night. And my comments. No, it wasn't. Okay. It was voted on by this commission and we posted it.
Okay, I'm just looking at the clock, and also, I only paid from till 4:15, but two things. One thing is, as a line healthcare professional provider, I can tell you that we have more support in these medical institutions than we might think. And approaching our supporters and our allies in a way that doesn't alienate might be a good idea. And the second thing is, I think that we can go ahead and try to work with as many groups without putting something that might, some people might consider inflammatory. And because we say, when we write this, I can tell you two things. I didn't know who we were talking about. I didn't know that Kaiser had already moved in that direction. And I can tell you that I feel bad that I didn't know that, because that's something we might have been able to talk about. Have we all been talking about Kaiser's having these discussions? And we should get in with them. So I'm sorry I didn't do it, but I didn't know. So I think now we know. Now we all know, now we're talking about it. Now I think it would be a good idea to do what we said. And to avoid burning a bridge when we might possibly be able to get an ally. I can tell you that a lot of the staff at Kaiser also worked at Castle with me, not a lot of people I worked with worked at both facilities. And I know that they certainly feel that they would be amenable to conversations with us, and they're looking for ways to work with people. And so if we could go and talk to somebody, getting into a boardroom, I don't know how easy that is to do. And maybe somebody around the table knows somebody related to something like that.
We also have to remember, I mean, I watch the news, I live with my partners, Mr. News. We're kind of at the point too where we have to play fire with fire, though. You have to remember that they are coming at us hard. We can play softball and then take it to a hard game. I mean, they're already playing hardball like that.
And I agree with you, and I think that the situation knows who is the they. Okay? The they, there's more than, and we don't want to.
I'm talking about the right now. They already wrote their line in sand saying, we're gonna do this regardless, so we can't.
Okay.
I'm sorry to say this, put some foot around it and say.
I understand. Unfortunately, I see that I just talked our way into 4:30. And so can we shelve this until next meeting? And because it's already closing time, and we already are including public testimony, I see.
I think that we probably have to think about two different things. One is the issue of just posting on Instagram as a first step, Cameron brought up. And two is the nature of the letter itself. Right, so that's a lot to talk about.
Yes.
Actually,
It's
we're gonna
quite
say
a
that
bit.
it's gonna be a letter, because not to be a stickler for the rules, but the agenda item is discussion of the statement, not a letter. And this is where, again, I'm gonna harp on this. This is where you all, if you want something on the agenda, you need to come forward with it. You need to, and having these reactionaries because somebody else put something on the agenda is fine. But working in advance of these meetings and doing things in between these meetings is extremely important. You know, public testimony.
Oh, I'd just like to really quickly add to it, using historical precedent of Black civil rights, for instance. I think both viewpoints are very important to have because Martin Luther King Jr. was looked upon as a terrorist by much of society until people like Malcolm X came along with more radical viewpoints. And if we start from a compromise, we will end with a compromise on the compromise. And I think it's very important to entertain, whether it's in the official discourse or not, still entertaining ideas of recognizing how serious of a threat this is.
Might have to go on the side door.
Oh, yeah, all the side doors.
Yeah, all the side doors, the front doors are already locked.
Yeah. And, oh, please remember to leave your badges on the desk for those of you in the room.
All right, so what I'm hearing from the commission is that we need to spend a little more time on this. Overall, okay, so let's vote on that. Okay, like, do we want to move this into our next session so that we can have a deeper conversation about it? Do we want more input from our commissioners for the letter, and are the commissioners actually going to do it?
Yeah, that's a question I would have then between now and the next meeting.
Yeah.
Could commissioners write their own draft or try to modify the draft and present another draft?
Okay.
Would that be possible?
And just remember, you all have titles, you need to use them. And there's nothing stopping you from using as a commissioner, I'm reaching out to you. You just can't say on behalf of the commission. I don't know how many times I'm gonna have to say that. I'm gonna try it one more time. You have titles, use them. Letters to the editor, op-eds, you can sign it as a commissioner, you can't say on behalf of the commission. It's a very clear, different line. If you want to do it on behalf of the commission, you need to reach out to Sandy during the meetings, between the meetings, and again, no forum travel. So, yeah, so the reason I did hold off on this thing to bring, instead of reaching out to Sandy, was to be able to have this discussion and remind people that we are in those end times when it comes, where we're gonna stand. And as far as I have seen in my conversations with the medical providers, they understand, they've reached out to me, we saw in the testimony today that the community actually supports this strong stance. And medical providers do understand, we're not going you, or you, we're talking about the entities that are making these decisions on bending the knee and sacrificing our trans youth. And just because they start with trans youth, and this is not just an impetus about surgery, this is, if you look across the board, we see clinics in Hawaii that offer gender affirming care that are no longer operated for anybody because of the fear. And they've chosen to sacrifice our trans community to the gods of fascism, as far as I'm concerned. And so you can see where I stand because of the letter, the statement, and we will be talking about this next month.
We're talking about next month. I do believe that this is a wake-up call for commissioners. We've got to be more proactive. And we are not in a political climate where we can be reactionary. We have got to be on the offense constantly, looking for these things that we've got to take care of before someone else takes our rights away. All right, so we're gonna table this for a deeper discussion next month. Future meeting topics or speakers, we're going to table that until next month. So now we need to have an adjournment, a discussion for adjournment.
Real quickly, if you have any topics, you can reach out to Sandy, making sure that they are timely, relevant to the needs and addressing the needs of our community.
Yes, please contact me because I want us to, I don't know, be a fighting force. Yeah. All right.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, motion to adjourn. Do we need to public testimony?
Second.
All right, so, second.
Public testimony?
Anybody? No, great. All right, and so we are adjourned.
You have to do a
no,
vote.
vote. Missed that one. Let's see. All right, everybody in vote, favor of adjourning? It's unanimous, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all right, perfect. And I will see everyone next month. Again, commissioners, let's get some stuff out there into the community.